Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
try talking one more time.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, good. I can hear you. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing super well.
I'm so excited to have you on here. I think it's going to be recording automatically.
I
Oh
heard
yeah.
I heard the computer say that when you clicked in, said this is being recorded.
Great. Okay, awesome. I'm getting used to Zoom, so I'm just making sure it's recorded because I'm really excited to be talking with you. I've actually been wanting to talk with you for at least a year now, maybe a couple of years. Um, so Ed, you are an author, a breath expert, an inspirational leader, a coach, and educator. I guess I would like to start by getting into your story. I know that any inspirational leader who is about self-betterment always has a story, and I want to know your story and how you kind of got into well-being.
Well, I grew up on the East Coast in a little beach town called Atlantic City. And I grew up right on the ocean, and I was on the beach every day as a kid. I had a lot of energy. I was getting into trouble. I was in the water all the time, keeping my parents alert. And, I ended up my first 20 years or so just really being a waterman. I was a lifeguard and I with all sorts of water sports. And I really got to know a little bit about nature and the human mechanisms of how we respond in nature through the ocean. And I had a great respect for the ocean. And it taught me a lot about cause and effect and risk and reward and, all the little things that sometimes gets lost in us achieving our goals. So I started out in a little family business, and I really didn't like arguing with people about money. And I knew that wasn't for me. And I guess about 1995, I was a professional athlete. I was a professional marathon swimmer, and I was in the biggest race of my life, and it just was so debilitating. But from an enlightenment standpoint, I had an opportunity to break my ego and get on the other side of my normal consciousness, and it was just so beautiful. It got me turned on to the Eastern arts and the arts of enlightenment, and living in flow and getting out of our own way. And I got involved in yoga, therapeutic yoga, and how to use controlled breath work in therapeutic yoga to amplify the amount of time you're doing it. And then I used breath work as a way for concentration, absorption, getting into that deeper space of the human being. And it led me into just this whole career of just really being someone who is kind of an inspirational backstop for people, and we all grow together. And hopefully I can be a spoke on your wheel to help you figure out maybe some things that you haven't been able to figure out about life, or just allow some questions to form around the normal habitual answers that we give ourselves. And I've had my own business now for 25 years. And it's been a great blessing to work with all these beautiful souls. And I've learned so much more on the way that I probably have taught someone else.
Cool. I love that. So would you say that when you were a professional athlete and you kind of did hit that time of friction, that was kind of a catalyst for you to really be like, okay, there's got to be a way where I can get through this and I can find, going through hell, I could find a heaven. Like if I ever go through this again, I'm going to find a way and I'm going to find tools to get me through a situation where it is more chaotic. Maybe you are short of breath and your brain starts to go crazy. Would you say that was in your timeline, the point where you were like, okay, there's got to be a way? And then it started with breath and yoga and kind of feeling like when I do start to breathe deeper, you're noticing how your mind calms down. And if your mind's calmed down, then you can kind of see things more clearly and behave and react more wisely.
Yeah.
Right?
There comes a point in life where we begin to question our choices. We begin to question our habits, if we're so inclined. And we begin to see that life is upside down. All the social modeling that we picked up when we were impressionable youths, and the things that everybody else was doing, because I wanted to be with the clique and the cool kids and all that. And then you begin to see, like, you're already in the click. You're you. You don't
Yeah,
need
you are the
anyone
click.
else. You are the clicker. And that really begins the work. And the work is always reverse. It's about going back and pulling the weeds of the mental and emotional patterns that have taken away from our heart. It's about questioning every thought. Why am I thinking this? And who is thinking this? It's about really going to the heart more often, because the heart's not scared. The heart is a completely fearless organ. It's an organ that can't get cancer. It is so oxygenated. It's the most powerful thing we have. But when we're in an habitual habit, most of the time we're in our head and we forget that we have this beautiful thing in our chest supporting us at the deepest levels of our existence.
Well, and I think it's kind of a scary thing if we are being ruled by our head, because our head is like the ego, and the head is something that wants to keep us safe, but the head is also wanting to fit into this like social norm. And society is feeding us a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. I mean, consumerism, like just being emotionally a consumerism and getting things on a whim and wanting to fit in and going with these trends. I mean, it's very toxic, and it is so easy for people to step back and be like, who am I really? Who am I without my car? Who am I without my career? Who am I without the fancy everything? If you take away everything from a person, it's like, then who are you? And then you have to start questioning yourself. And I feel like for a lot of people, for me, I had to hit a rock bottom in my life to really look in the mirror and be like, who am I? And really question, what am I doing? What am I eating? How am I breathing? How am I moving? What am I thinking? What are my belief systems? And really peel back these layers that have come with our upbringing and really like see what the pearl is, like your pearl, like your click. And so that's mindfulness, right? Like it's so important for every individual to step back, look in the mirror and like, who am I? Who am I really? And
I think, yeah. There's a reason why we go like this, because you can't put anything in your hands. You can't get that new car, that new shirt, those new sneakers, those new skis. Like this, everything is whole. There's no duality. Nothing needs to be added. You are a human being first and a human doing second.
yes,
And,
yeah.
And it's just, are you going to be in consumerism or are you going to be a creator? Or are you creating these moments, co-creating these moments for you while you're in this human body? At our birth, somewhat, we are cut off from who we really are. And we spend our whole life, a lot of us, trying to remember who we were at our birth. So the journey is going back before we attempt to go forward, because the more you can go back and reveal and peel it back and find different types of clarity, you organically go forward without even knowing it's happening.
Absolutely. And I think for people to understand that you do have to go back in order to go forward. Because if you're just trying to go forward, that's a lot of yang energy. That's a lot of masculine trying to force something. But it's like you have to be introspective and go back so you're not in suppression of things. I think a lot of people are suppressed because they don't want to go back. They don't want to look at the gucky stuff. They don't want to look at the dark stuff. They don't want to look at traumas. But it's like you have to. And the other week, my family pulled out old home videos and I was watching myself as a 6-year-old, and it totally reminded me of like who I am. I wasn't overthinking things. I was breathing in my perfect rhythm. And I was literally just being, and I'm getting the chills right now because as a 28-year-old, that was so powerful for me to watch myself as a young child, because that's like reminding me of like who I am before all the guards came up, right? And I was breathing so perfectly and I was in the flow. Like I was in my chi, if you will. Like I had no doubts, I had no fears. I was in my heart frequency. So I feel like that's a really great tool for people to go back, is like, if you have home videos, pull those puppies out.
Great. Whether it was a bad experience or whether it was a good experience, it's all just energy.
Yeah.
And there's good in the bad and there's bad in the good.
Right.
And, the idea is to just use that emotional fuel to transform how the mind talks to us, or we talk to our mind, or the film we're watching in the head. Sometimes we're watching the film, and sometimes the film is watching us. Either way, the great part about it is you're that 6-year-old in the present moment where reality is taking place.
Yeah, I love that. I've been living in Hawaii on and off, and I've learned so much from the ocean and from nature. And sometimes when you're just in that flow, just breathing and being, and you're out of your head and into that heart, I always say, like, the surf will surf you. You don't have to surf it. The guitar will play you. Like when you let go, and I think when you do a big exhale and you let go, and you do a big inhale and you get into this flow, like things will start to just organically, like God will run through you. I know pranayama is life force. Like it's life force. I think it's God force. And so if we learn to just kind of like get out of that head into the heart, that's like where magic literally happens. You don't even have to try. You don't even have to force. It just, you're in it. You're in that zone. And I don't know if you've ever, I'm sure you have experienced that. Like, it's like a meditative, state. Avatar.
Yeah. So flow is a state of mental awareness, which characteristically you'll see time dilate. You won't know how far you've gone or how far you need to go. Distance, and how distance, miles, steps, tends to be blurry when we're in a state of flow. When we're in flow, there's 5 neurochemicals that are present in the brain that are only there when we're in flow. And at no other time does the mind have access to these 5 neurochemicals. And the first 2 are serotonin and dopamine. And there's a good portion of serotonin and dopamine that we have in our upper gut that we use for digestion and elimination and assimilation, smooth digestion. But there's also a lot of serotonin and dopamine in the brain. So you feel good, but you're calm. Now, you have norepinephrine, which is an excitatory molecule where you're focused on the task in hand. There's no fear. You're not easily distracted. You're completely locked in on what you're doing. And something from inside us is coming to the surface and pushing the old ego away. And then there's endorphins. And endorphins are like the brain's painkiller, the brain's heroin. It's the most powerful thing. We can do superhuman things when we have a large supply of endorphins. And the last neurochemical is anatomine. And anatomine is a key molecule that allows the 2 prefrontal cortexes, which are the conscious areas of the brain, which normally don't talk to each other. In other words, the right brain doesn't know the left brain's over there. The left brain doesn't know there's a great feminine energy over here in the right brain of intuition. There's a wall there, and it's called the corpus callosum. And anatomine is a cross-lateral molecule that allows the left brain to talk to the right brain and the right brain to talk to the left brain, so that the messages you're utilizing in the moment are whole brain messages. You're completely grounded in what you're doing. There's not even a scintilla of it's not going to work out. You're almost superhuman, super energized, and super calm.
That's awesome. I love that. So those 5 chemicals can only be released when you are in that flow state.
Yeah, and the idea is to create a breathing practice for yourself so that you can make that happen. You can hack into that system. And that's one of the things that I've done with folks who are result oriented in their life, for years. It's to give them the tools that they can hack into a flow state anytime they want to, 24/7, 365. It's not just, I hope it works out.
Yeah.
We can scientifically get you into a place where you can get out of your own way and spirit can do the work.
That's awesome. Can you give us some examples of how to like tap into this?
Sure. First thing we got to do is we want to bring up some heat. We want to get some energy going. When you think about bringing up heat or energy, It's easy to do if you know how to do it. But you want to be super efficient because the energy should be like Mother Nature. Nothing is wasted. Nothing needs to be added. Every distribution of every energetic molecule is completely parceled and knows exactly where to go. Keep the ego off it. Be efficient in your patterns of movement, whether they're in your spine, your mind, your body, your brain, your heart, wherever you're getting your information. So let's get efficient. First thing we do is we press our feet down into the ground like you're going to stand up. And then notice what happens in your brain as soon as you do that. You've become efficient just by planting your feet onto the planet. So cool. Next, roll the shoulder blades up, back, and down a couple times and see if you can just open up your shoulder girdle and allow that heart to kind of warm up inside that rib cage. You'll notice even simple movement like this can disturb our breathing because there's a lot going on here. And then the next time you just hold the shoulder blades back and down, you'll feel your heart energy expand out through the front of your body, through the sternum. Next, eyes and jaw, completely relaxed like that 6-year-old. Tongue on the upper palate, no tension through the muscles of the face. And begin to inhale as slowly as you can and exhale as slowly as you can, preferably through the nose. So let's get some heat up here. Turn your palms up. And on the next inhale, take your arms out to the side off your legs, sweep them overhead, interlace your fingers, and hold the breath in. Squeeze your belly, and then lift your ribs away from your hips. You'll feel suction in your upper abdomen. There's fire there. When it becomes uncomfortable and you need to exhale, press your feet down and exhale your hands out across the ceiling of your mind, down the opposite walls, and back to your starting position of your legs. Take a deep breath in and hold the breath in. Squeeze your legs and glutes. Squeeze your belly and the larger muscles of the shoulders, chest, and back. Just isometrically contract them. Exhale slowly through your nose. Hold the breath out for a moment. Repeat one more. Inhale as slowly as you can from your belly to your heart. Hold the breath in and then squeeze as many muscles as your brain is aware of. Contract them. Now the exhale is in slow motion. Relax the body and face. Hold the breath out. Take a resting breath. Bring your hands to your shoulders. Make a soft fist and open your chest. On the inhale, I want you to reach up to the sun. And on the exhale, I want you to pull the sun down into your heart. It's about 1 round per second and might look something like this. Here we go. Three, two, one. Bring your hands down. Slow motion inhale. Slow motion exhale. Steady your mind and body and hold the breath out. Focus your mind behind and below your navel. When the body calls for breath, inhale in slow motion. Hold the breath in and focus your mental activity in the core of your heart. And just hold. Escape time, space, be in the heart. When you need to breathe, exhale slowly. Bring your right hand up to your face. Alternate nostril breathing. Take the thumb, close off the right nostril. Inhale slowly, left nasal channel, right frontal lobe. Use a finger, close off the left nostril and exhale right. Inhale, right nostril, left prefrontal lobe. Use the thumb, close off the right nostril, release the finger and exhale left. Inhale left, close off, release, exhale right. Inhale right, close off, release, slow motion exhale out the left. Inhale left. Hold the breath in. Focus in your brain. Close off the left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold the breath in. Focus on your brain. Close off the right. Exhale left nostril. Inhale left nostril. Hold the breath in. Focus on your brain. Close off the left nostril. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold the breath in. Focus on your brain. Close off the right. Release. Exhale left. Bring the hand down. Focus in your brow area. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath in. Focus on your brow. Now purse your lips, and the exhale is going to be like this sound. Good. Inhale through your nose. Hold the breath in. Focus at the brow, and when the pressure gets too much, so just in your own way, visualize everything is balanced. Male, female, night and day, winter, summer, success, failure. It's all the same. As the brain picks up the smoother breath, notice how she responds to you and how you respond to her. This is a healthy relationship. So we could probably sit here for an hour or so, just like this, but.
Wow, I feel like a whole new being with a whole new vibration. I feel so good.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
So what did we do?
So what did we do?
So how did we do that? We used the breath to create heat and tension in the body where we're holding. Mm-hmm. The breath, the diaphragm, the vagus nerve, the intercostal muscles, your abdominal muscles. As we created this heat, it was like they went to the gym, but they didn't do any of this stuff. We were sitting here. So it was very efficient. You know, no one's dying of muscle cancer. People are dying of organ cancer. So this is a very skillful distribution of energy, and we broke up a lot of tension around the body with the gentle heat that we created. We brought the heart rate up, and then we brought the heart rate back down with targeted alternate nostril breathing, again, to sync those two prefrontal lobes, bring the heart rate back down, bring up that serotonin and dopamine to cool that fire. And then we just did that little third eye point breath where we have this opening of the space in the environment that wherever we are, it becomes lighter. It's like a screen door just opens and it's just, and then boom, you're on the other side.
That was amazing. Well, and I always say, like in my coaching, I always say how in one hand you have fire and in the other you have water. And it's that duality of, it's that union of both. And it's like no wind to create some fire and no wind to cool it off. And it's just that union where you become so mindful and powerful and just almost complete in your dualities, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did.
You know, when you're working with breath, you always do it judiciously. You never do more than you need to get your desired result. The good news about the breath is it already is completely liberated and free. It already knows your story, like in ways you don't even want to go there. So it knows where you're hot and it'll bring cooling hormones and circulation. It knows where you're cold and where you're stuck, and it brings heat and it breaks up those icebergs. So the breath is intelligent on its own. It knows your story. There's no hiding. And the idea is just activate and then just sit with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I believe that to be true, because if people are doing breath work or yoga, same thing, people will like break down crying because it's like the breath is healing them. It's like you're bringing the breath into the spots and letting it work on it. And it's creating like alchemy, right? Like it's creating a chemical reaction to heal that thing. And so you have to purge that out, whether it's through crying or sweating, or it's just got to come out of the subconscious somehow. So it's very powerful how it's intelligence, and it makes sense, you know, as like a certified yogi or whatever, pranayama, God force, like it's intelligent and we naturally know how to do it. It's naturally occurring.
And for those folks that don't want to do the postures, you know, you can still stick with your regular Western fitness program, but let all the breathing be the Eastern arts of pranayama in your Western fitness routine. Right. Because Western fitness routines are yoga postures. Mm-hmm. They are putting your body in different angles, using different ways to create leverage, whether it be a cardio machine, a weight machine, a stretching machine. You know, they're great and I get it. But at the end of the day, breath control, your body weight against gravity is going to be plenty. That's the way folks have been doing this for 10,000 years. You know, CrossFit is new. It's great. Everybody's doing great. But there isn't going to be any CrossFit in 1,000 years. Okay. It's going to be this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I always say, like, even just doing a squat, you drop a pen, you have to go down and pick something up. Use the breath with the action that you're doing. If you're going down, you're going to exhale, inhale, come up.
Right.
And bring that union together. And you could be constantly in a flow state. I mean.
Well, we are. Yeah. We are in a flow state all the time. We're just not at the frequency, which is 538 hertz in the brain. Most of us are living in the high third dimension or low third dimension. When we practice yoga or breathing or whatever our particular routines, maybe even meditation, you can get through that fourth dimension quickly and get into that lower fifth, but it's unsustainable because we don't have the energy in our body to control the brainwave activity. So that's why the pranayama is so important, because no matter what you're doing, it'll add efficiency to it, because the human life is a time-sensitive event. You know, you don't know how much you got. And if you're aware of something today, you know, you better get on it today. Right.
Yeah. I think this day and age, a lot of people are taking shallow breaths just because of the constant stimulation of being on their phone. And especially like people my age, they're addicted to the dopamine of seeing the notification. There's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's YouTube. I mean, we're being bombarded with keeping us at a low vibration. And so I think we're living in a time right now where it's so crucial that people are mindful right now, because anxiety rates are going up. And when you're breathing shallow, you're telling your brain you're in fight or flight mode. You're being chased by a bear, even though you're just sitting there on your phone. I mean, no wonder diseases and illnesses and inflammation is just more apparent more than ever. It's because of technology in a way. So we have to find more discipline and awareness, because it's an issue, it's a problem, and it's so easy to just this thing.
It'll never love you back. You know, it's a one-way relationship. And, you know, we tend to be more drawn to dopamine when we're stressed, because it takes us off the stressor. You know, I want to go just space out on this thing. You know, when at the end of the day, this life right now in the world is about getting back to the basics.
I agree.
Okay? Stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
This isn't time, you know, to whatever you do out of your lane. Stay in your lane.
Yep.
Simplify things. You know, you're a human being. You take one breath at a time. There's no human beings taking 2 breaths at a time on the planet that I'm aware of.
That's
now
true.
you can take 2 little breaths, but once you understand how your lungs are constructed, those shallow breaths, the air never reaches your gut. It's only exchanged in the top sleeve of your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
The top sleeve of your lungs, the physiology there is all fight or flight, cortisol, adrenaline, sympathetic hormones, which are going to exacerbate the stress that you already have. So thinking about getting that breath and that diaphragm pushing down towards your gut,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to feel the moment first, or you want to use feeling as a neutral tool to evaluate the authenticity of your thought. If you feel a thought and there's a knot in your gut, that's a lie. If you feel a thought and there's congruency with that in your gut, and there's a flow and a happiness and a dopamine to that's manageable, that's true. So using the gut to help us in the mental world, it's an anchor when we need it. You know, we first go to the gut, you know, in stress levels. The fastest way, and we're all based in speed, okay? The fastest way to change dysfunctional thinking is to feel the thoughts with a focused breath. It gets so easy because your intuition won't lie. It doesn't have an ego. It'll say good thought, bad thought, or I don't know. Now, if you avoid that for years, and I'm okay, leave me alone, blah, 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 you're not tapping the brake like that. Then you're going to have to hit the wall. And there's going to be just shit everywhere. And it's going to be like a yard sale. And it's going to be, oh my God. That's when you go to the heart. So we actually go there last. You know, we go, oh, heart, please let me back in. I'll be a good boy from here on out. I'll never think that again. I am so sorry. And the heart just goes, oh, my friend, I'm always here for you every time you fall. But let's see if we can just not fall as much this week. So, you know, some of the basic, what I'm trying to get at is feel your thoughts. If you're looking to change your life, use your emotional intelligence to quantify your mental world, because not every voice in your head loves you. Most of it, 90% of it's entertainment. It's not really the true you. Mm-hmm. So we don't want quantity thinking. We want quality thinking. I don't want you over or under thinking anything. And this feeling in the gut will help you stay on true north. You never wiggle off your original intention on how that information came to you in your mind, wherever you were. You never water yourself down, never water your value down. Just weather the storms and just keep going. True north. And then the short version of that is, you know, when the shit hits the fan, you got to breathe into your heart, because the heart will tell you exactly how it is in 3 or 4 words, whether you're ready for the truth or not. You know, because the heart is fearless in regard to how much it loves you, it forgives you, it has so much compassion for you, it's grateful to be with you, it doesn't judge you as good, bad. So, you know, you have to rewire your brain that when there's discomfort or there's an intruder, you don't take the bait and mindlessly think that way for 15 minutes. You go, oh, I'm stressed. I slow my breath and I take the stressor and I just breathe it right into here and it's eviscerated.
Wow. That validates just how powerful we are as human beings. And
We're scared of how powerful we are.
I think that's true. I agree.
But it's not power like this. It's not that type of power. It's an overwhelming feminine power that you know everything that's ever occurred and everything that will occur. The feminine is completely prepared for the next second of your life if you'll just let that male energy sit in the back seat for a while and shut up.
Yeah.
Which is difficult to do when you're stressed because you're feeling inferior. I'm never going to be happy again. I don't have enough money. All this stuff is just static. There's always enough of everything that you require. You just have to slow down and get efficient energetically with your search.
There's always enough. That just made me feel so peaceful. That's such a good reminder for people.
Yeah, they don't want to know they're overqualified.
Absolutely.
We are all overqualified. We complicate this stuff.
We do. The brain's a little trickster. And I think we don't give our
brain's the problem.
Right. I mean, it's there to keep us safe, but it's not. You have to have that balance of the feminine and the masculine. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit to trust our bodies and to trust that subconscious and trust that our bodies are very powerful in itself, And I think people lack trust. I don't think they trust themselves. I don't think, they're just lacking faith in everything. And
I agree.
That mindset helps. That mindset helps of there is enough. That instantly makes you breathe deeper.
Let go of any doubt that the gifts you bring to the table aren't big enough. You go to like a picnic and everybody's got all these presents, and you got your little box. Oh, my thing's not going to be good enough. It's like, what are you talking about? We are so fun. I was talking to somebody today about how humorous it is to be human right now. I mean, if you can take the personality out of it, and all that, look at me or whatever, it's hilarious. We are here to laugh and love. These are two things that I know you're good at. I'll tell you one thing you stink at: hate. You're never going to be good at hate, ever. And any voice in your head that tries to tell you that's going to somehow be your modus operandi, that's where you begin your work. We didn't come here to hate. We can disagree, but we don't have to hate.
Amen. Well, and it's such a draining frequency to hate something. And I always love the quote, "What you damn damns you back." Because once you send out that damnation energy, it's coming right back to you. Like everything that we're projecting out is literally going to be coming back to us on a vibrational level, So they say, hate and love cannot exist in the same space. Like hate and fear, or fear and hate cannot coexist with love. They're polar opposites, So it's being mindful of like intentionally in the situation, am I in love or am I in fear? And that determines that, even that thought determines how you're breathing. Let me check in with my breath. Well, I'm in fear because I'm in fight or flight right now. So just being mindful in everything that you do and everyone that you're talking with and the situations that you're put in, of like, how am I breathing? And am I in fear or am I in love?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can then choose how you're going to alter the situation so you can be in a loving vibration and thinking of that little 6-year-old. Like, we're all just big adult kids and learning to laugh at life. Like, it is what it is. How much control do I actually have? The Taoists believe, stay in your own lane and you can only focus on your own vortex. I can't try to control the weather. I can't try to control this person. And me trying to do so is lying to myself. And that's me being in fear. Like, just trust that everything going on around me is happening perfectly. Take my deep breaths and focus on what I can do now to make my vortex better and at its best.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's well said. And, if, for those of us trying to do personal growth work, when we do get angry at someone, a couple days later or whenever the energy comes down, if you just sit with it in meditation, you'll notice that you're not mad at her. You're mad at you. There's something inside you that was triggered in the mirror of someone else, which makes you think so and so has done something to me. No, you did it to yourself.
Yep.
It's a teachable moment. There's nobody out there. When you hate someone or you lash out on social media, it's got nothing else. It's got nothing to do with them. That's about you and your level of self-acceptance and mental health and the relationship you have with yourself. But there's nobody else out there. So when you begin to see that when you hurt someone else, you're just hurting yourself and you're devaluing your beauty, maybe we can think twice before we make someone else wrong.
Oh, and that is so powerful once you understand what you just said, because then you can't play the victim anymore. Then you take full accountability for who you are, your actions, your past, your voids, and you're not projecting anything out and putting it on someone else anymore. You take back your power. You say, it's not you that did something to me. Only I can do something to me, because I only have control over my vortex. So yeah, if you do the breath work, maybe you'll tap into that subconscious and a memory will come up and the breath will heal that trauma of maybe when you were a kid and someone just triggered something that happened when you were a kid. It's like the subconscious work that's actually going on. And so, yeah, I think mirror work is really good of like, oh, that triggered me. Well, why? Why did that trigger me? And how can I fix that? So I can be more complete and be more whole and be more loving, because a whole person is probably more loving because they're not searching for anything like outside of themselves,
Exactly. Finding a good coach is key. Finding someone who's been through the trenches, and then finding someone who's not here to fix you, someone who's just a mirror for you, and create the environment inside your brain where you can figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Because I need to figure myself out. I don't need to figure you out. I'm not here to answer your questions. I'm here to create the questions. So at the end of the day, it's just such a beautiful thing, when you're with another human being that has had the courage to ask for assistance in this time where it's considered weak if you ask for help, when actually you're the strongest person in the boat. You're pulling the biggest puddle. You're the strongest swimmer in the water. You're not the weakest. But that ego, that brain, it's very simple. Like they say, as a saying, like, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes a truth.
Yeah.
It's the brain doesn't know the difference. It's just an electrochemical frequency moving across your brain. There's no emotion in it at all. But at the end of the day, all of fear is just something we've told ourselves long enough, and we subconsciously believe it. There is no such thing as fear. There is danger. And I suggest getting away from danger as fast as possible, and then getting back into homeostasis and meditation. Yeah. But fear, there is no danger.
Right.
It's just something, it's a psychological event that wreaks havoc on the body. You're going to live through fear. You might not live through danger. So the big difference
starts with the mind.
Well, the mind is everything and the mind is nothing. The mind is the great $100 trillion billion question. Is your life being created for you, or are you the creator of your life? Is that you talking in your head, or is there something in your head talking to you? Nobody knows this stuff to be true. So you just hang in there and you do the best you can.
Isn't life one big paradox? We're never going to know. It's like the more we know, the less we know. It's always just paradoxical, I've come to realize. And that leads me to the idea of like, even when I'm coaching, I always say to the person I'm coaching with, like, it's simultaneous. You're coaching me too. You're teaching me too. I am a teacher and a student at the same time all the time. I don't care if I'm talking to a janitor. I don't care if I'm talking to Trump. I don't care who I'm talking to. There is always going to be some kind of alchemy happening because we're both the student and the teacher. And that makes you more grateful for the situation that you're in, being like, I'm learning from this. They're learning from this. They're a mirror for me to learn. And that's so beautiful, because that gets back to the power of community and family, and uniting as one, uniting as a conscious collective, because we all need each other. You know?
It's just a beautiful way of saying that everything's okay if you want it to be okay. If you don't want it to be okay, it's not going to be okay. You have to have some sort of an interest of exploring your story and knowing you are the creator of your story. You're the writer of it. You are also the actor in this play you're watching. But, you know, and on some level, you're the director. You're telling the actor what to do based on the script.
Yep.
And then the next dimension is there's an audience there. You're the audience judging your level of acting. So it's just classic third dimensional living, where, you know, all you need to do is just, you know, love what you hate about yourself. Love what you hate about others. Shut down the War Department and get back to the basics. Yes.
Amen. Love what you hate. I hope you guys soak that one in.
You know, I try to be efficient with time with people without being overbearing. You know, the greatest teacher of all is silence.
I agree. Simon and Garfunkel.
Silence. You think silence is silent?
It's loud.
There's a lot of action in silence for those out there who are, everything happens in silence. You can't learn anything new, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking. You're just regurgitating something you've learned from someone else or something you've done for years.
Yep.
You need to get silent.
Yeah.
And you need to get silent where you talk, and you need to talk a little bit where you get silent. And then boom, everything's going to be great.
I think people are so scared of silence.
That's all there is.
Well, not if everyone's on their phone constantly in stimulation. And then all of a sudden they hit a rock bottom and they wonder what happened. It's because you were too in your masculine, dude. You need to just go into nature. Even if you can't go into nature, like, be in silence. Take out the technology and just sit there in your room. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you're just like sitting there observing, just in the room, and it's just quiet and you're just like, doo doo doo. That's like
all you
so
need.
Powerful.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. People don't do it.
That's flow. That's as good as it gets in a body. That's as good as it gets. That's it. That's a peak experience. There is nothing better than that.
Being one with the furniture, being one with this chair, being one with the pen. I am just coexisting. And that's humbling, and that's powerful.
That's, you know, just keep it simple, everyone. You know, as you begin to learn different breathing strategies consciously, they'll be there subconsciously when you need them without you consciously having to bring them online. So the brain will see what you're doing, it'll store it in the back, and whatever you're going through at the time, the brain will pick the best breathing technique to get you through that particular event, you know, whatever it may be. So, you know, one of the great things when you become aware is, if you notice for no reason at all, your exhale is getting shorter than your inhale, your body's responding to the environment, and you're around somewhat of an intruder. Maybe there's someone in the room who isn't being truthful, and your belly's closing off to that, and you're beginning to organize a defense to keep that out of you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're human beings, and we're hardwired to think that everyone who talks to us is telling us the truth. We never look at anyone and we think immediately they're lying to us unless there's been a previous event. It's not part of the DNA. So this trust thing that we were talking about, you know, is so important. And just being in that space where you're the creator, it's really cool.
I feel like I would consider myself an empath, and there's some people, Ed, where I love them, but for whatever reason, every time I'm around them, I get the worst anxiety. And I believe it's because I'm picking up subconscious things that aren't pure, or it's like I'm picking up their wounds or something, their misalignments. And my brain, like my logic is like, what the freak?
Right. It's protecting you.
But yeah, I just want to like, I get in fight or flight and I just want to go. And it's, we're so intelligent in that way. Like our bodies are literally telling us, I'm just very sensitive in that way.
Being aware when your breath is disturbed for no reason, something's going on that you can learn something. It's free. You're going to learn something from the universe. And just paying attention. Okay, I'm at the computer for no reason at all. My breath is being disturbed. What is going on in this moment? Because my body's creating a defense or attack mechanism.
Yeah.
The weakest form of communication is verbal.
Yeah.
We like to talk, and it's great. I love it. I love relationships. I love to talk. I love to listen. It's beautiful. But this is the most lightweight form of communication.
Yeah, it is. That's crazy.
So if you're around someone and something's going off, that invisible field is talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get into you or whatever that may be. And, it's just not an efficient, they're an energy thief. They're a parasite, and it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that we become aware and upgrade our alarm system, because we know there's a lot of people more than ever that are suffering with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I hate to be this person, but I really want to know your zodiac sign.
I was born on Christmas Day in 1959. And I'm a Cap.
Cool. You have a strong personality like I do. Passionate. I like it.
Well, here's when I'm on. Here's who I am. I'm extremely sensitive to what's going on in the room.
Me too.
And I can tell what everyone is thinking in the room. And I can use that sensitivity as my greatest gifts, or I can use that sensitivity to shut down, close off, separate. Mm-hmm. And this sensitivity is something that we try to evolve, as we get older. This sensitivity to the subtle, the sensitivity to the etheric levels, the sensitivity to what the spirits are communicating, the sensitivity to what the souls are trying to help each other with. This is the goal. Now, if you have a sharp mental intellect, this can help you with the sensitivity. Or again, that sharp mental intellect, that memorization I read you did really good in school, that doesn't want to know about, that doesn't want to be sensitive. That doesn't want to be emotional. I live in my left prefrontal cortex and everything's fine over here, and that's great. I think it's wonderful. But the way to evolve perceptions is becoming aware of the subtle, what can't be seen, heard, smelled, taste, touch, the sixth sense, the seventh sense, the eighth sense, working with different mapping systems from the ancient schools, the different chakra systems, whether you believe in spinning wheels or not, doesn't matter. But the chakra system's a hell of a good map to try to understand who you are. Before you try to understand who others are, I'm trying to figure out who I am on a daily basis. And it's not a destination. There's no finish line until I stop breathing. It's a journey every day to try to be my best without drawing a finish line.
I love that. I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I do believe in those wheels called chakras. But even, getting into like pressure points and like reflexology and everything, all the nerves in our body is going to our hands and our feet. And literally the foot is symbolic of the body. So the big toe is the head. And it blows my mind because I'm really into that Eastern way of thought. It makes sense to me. Everything is connected. We do have an aura. We do have an energy field. And when people come into it, we react by it. Like we are we are intelligent beings of energy, and we're very powerful. And being a Reiki practitioner, it's like my hands get really warm and my body really is talking to me. And yes, for a highly intelligent person to actually put aside that ego and get out of the prefrontal cortex, and just kind of like humble yourself. You don't know as much as you think you know. You can learn so much by not studying, by going back to the primal nature of like just being an animal and not going into a book, but going into yourself,
Yeah.
I mean, I think people need to humble themselves because, being on that high horse is only, creating suffering for you, whether you want to accept that or not. But eventually, sometimes you hit a rock bottom and you have to get humbled. You have to fall on your knees and you have to be like, okay, I give. And that's a powerful moment. I think everyone needs that moment. Everyone needs that moment.
Yeah, there's always going to be, it's always going to be something. I grew up at a time where, my parents, and when I was a parent with my daughters, I really, and my parents just wanted to show me that, life is life. You can have a good life. Life is easy. You just do X, Y, and Z, and, what I began to find out that it's the opposite. Life is hard with moments of easy. So you almost, you had this big pity party, like, oh shit, life's like, really, that's a lot of work. This isn't no rest home down here on earth.
Gravity really is going down.
Yeah, you got things to do. But, I think just somehow, like with my parenting, I just kind of overprotected my daughters, and, everything's great. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to do it different, I think I would have let them skin their knee a couple more times, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see how that'd be hard as a parent because you don't want to like feel their pain, but at the same time, no pain, no gain.
You just look at nature and how nature handles their babies. Like birds are born and they're kicked out of the nest in a week, and they're never coming home. So there's a certain brutalness to nature, but somehow it all makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it's interesting how kids don't have fear, but then the parent could be projecting their fear, like you could fall out of that tree, but the kid's like, I got this. Like I'm in my nature. Like I'm an animal. I'm a strong, intelligent animal. So fear is funny, and I'm sure I'm not a parent yet. I have a dog, but I know that my children will be my greatest teachers. I know that for a fact. Fear's coming up for me, but let them, even though I want to be putting like mats underneath them.
It's hilarious, man, how they have, somehow at birth, they get your complete handbook on how to agitate you. And they're experts at pushing all your buttons.
Oh,
and next thing you know, you're the kid, they're the parent.
That is true.
It's wild.
Turn. Oh my gosh.
Everything's upside down these days.
Talk about being humbled, right, Ed?
Man, it's like, wow, I still got a lot to learn.
That is so crazy. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm not a very patient person, but I know I will learn some patience, and hell, I'll be levitating by the time they're 21, maybe, Well,
there's a lot of parents that are raising their kids in a very spiritual way these days.
Yeah.
And, really targeting how much TV they get, and targeting their friends, and doing homeschooling, and not getting indoctrinated into this Western consumerism. So, there's pockets of places out there where, kids are super aware for their age.
Yeah. I've met some kids and I'm like, you are like a little grandpa. Like you are an old soul. Even just looking into their eyes, I'm like, I feel so exposed.
It's the truth. It's really humbling.
It is humbling. And I think it's what's meant to happen as the universe and this world is expanding, like new intelligence is coming in to remind us to get back to Get back to the simplicities.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that, I listen to you talk, you pull information from so many different portals for someone so young. Gosh, the future is going to be bright.
Thanks, Ed. This conversation has been, I loved it. It was perfect. I really like talking with you. I feel like I could keep going. I could keep pulling some stuff.
Well, I just think the main thing is, don't doubt yourself. In other words, don't doubt what you're thinking. Okay. This thought just didn't come out of the blue and land in your head in the universe. It traveled light years to be with you. Don't shut it down.
Yeah.
Human life is about awareness. And the more awareness you can accrue, the more choices you have with subjective states in your head and objective outside of you. So, how can I become more aware while at the same time stalling aging to my body?
Right.
There's no reason to become super aware and then you're going to die.
Yeah.
The idea of the breath work is you might be 35 years old, but the idea of the breath work is to give you the cardiovascular strength of a 25-year-old and the mental awareness of a 45-year-old that comes into a 35-year-old head.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have the energy of that lion and you have that grandmother, grandfather type awareness and you marry them together, that's superhuman.
That is superhuman. And I see things visually and I just picture a ball and it starts to vibrate faster and faster and faster. And the faster that energy, your energy starts to vibrate, the more light you become, the more heart in the heart space that you become, and the more light you become, and the more like darkness can't come to you.
Right.
Friction
Right.
can't come to you because you're vibrating so high and you've hit such a level to where, I mean, enlightenment state or whatever, but you're powerful being state. And I believe, we are on the path of becoming gods and becoming aware and becoming conscious and vibrating higher. And that does mean doing the breath work. That does mean being mindful of what you're eating, who you're around, what you choose to do, and seeing how powerful you really are. I mean, that's my purpose, is to remind people, sacrifice things in order to vibrate higher. And you'll find that sacrifice will open a door of something much better.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
I love that.
Yeah. It's just starting somewhere. It could be the smallest sacrifice,
Once you start to vibrate your DNA at a higher and higher level, you leave this dense world that we live in now. Yep. Where you're either hyperactive or you can't get off the couch.
Yeah. And
as you start to vibrate the DNA faster, what happens is you're completely calm and you have more energy than you possibly could handle. That's going to last for days.
Yeah.
Like we're living this lie. We're kind of imprisoned in our solar plexus, which is basically I can do it or I can't do it.
Yeah.
The idea is to get your brain, your breath down into your pelvis.
Yeah.
And that fire of the reproductive organs and transmuting that into something else besides sex.
Yes.
This is how you get power. There's power in our pelvis. There's like 1 trillion nuclear power plants that are encased in your pelvic bowl. And if you know how to ignite that fire, buckle up. You're in for the ride of your life. You're going to wake up from this dream and go, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes, that is so true. The pelvic floor is the seat of anxiety. And if you can actually breathe into there and stimulate that root chakra, and then the sacral will be stimulated, and then the solar plexus, which is the sun, which is your confidence. I mean, you'll basically be doing Reiki and healing yourself by doing this. And if you look at like a puppy or a cat or a baby, and they're breathing deep into that pelvic floor. But then it's like as certain things start to happen in our life where we start to build up with these walls, our breath starts to become shorter and shorter and shorter. So getting back to our primal roots of breathe deep into the base of your spine and let that air just be a tunnel for that air, and you'll start to just heal and shift and heal and shift and heal and shift. And
yeah,
super.
It's all in there. It's all in there.
And I guess that's why people become breatharians, right? Like, oh, I don't need food. You can get to that point.
Well, just to get folks started with that, just learning how to pull up behind your reproductive organ. It's not a Kegel exercise. So when you pull, as soon as you contract that hammock of the pelvic floor up, your chest immediately lifts and your spine goes straight. Your skeletal muscles become aware to your brain, not the superficial muscles you see in the mirror. These are the weakest muscles we have. The skeletal muscles, these thin sheaths of muscles on the bones, move these bones with great efficiency. And as soon as you pull up on the pelvic floor, you'll notice the arches of your feet pull up, your shoulder blades drop back and down, and you're in kind of like this prestigious alignment inside yourself. And you use less energy getting through moment by moment.
Well, and it makes sense. I'm always telling people, you are a tree and you have to start with the roots. You have to start with your root chakra. You have to start with that pelvic floor. And once you start there, everything starts to align with the roots, with the core of the tree. So That totally makes sense. And that's so powerful with just doing that one thing. The body and the tree knows how to become strong and tall.
Right.
How it's born to be. We're not supposed to be like weak tree. We're actually strong tree. We just need to remember little things like this. This is some deep stuff, because I had a CrossFit injury and my whole spine collapsed, and I had to refigure out how to primarily get back to this stuff. So I studied my body, I studied my breath. I think that's why I'm so aware of these things, because I had to heal myself. So yeah, you're right in that. That's a game changer, because if you can stimulate that root chakra, everything else starts to align. And I've found so much confidence, breath, and alignment just by doing that one thing.
Yeah, because it's universal. In other words, if you're working with an injury, if you draw up on your pelvic floor during your therapy, you'll notice the injury heals faster and there's less pain there. There's less of a contusion there of inflammation.
Right.
You'll notice when you draw up on the pelvic floor, it's hard to space out. It's hard to be distracted. You're conscious on some level of you and the environment that you're in.
Yeah. It's like as soon as you do that, as soon as you do engage that pelvic floor, you literally, your reality begins to change and you're so present.
If you want to just try something on a little deeper level, again, we spoke earlier about how the breath is intelligent and the heart is the master of the answers. You can't fix your head with your head, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen. I don't care how smart you are, because it's just the ego is too trippy. It just leads you around like a dog chasing his tail.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to know in your life? What is, I don't care, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can take an 11. Like, what do you want to know? You close your eyes and you silently, on an inhale, ask that question to your breath as it comes into you. And you let that come down into your heart. And then by the time you exhale, you have the answer to that question immediately. So you can never become a victim. The answer to all of your questions is one breath away if you know how to unearth the treasure. So you just inhale through your nostrils, through the air, the question. You bring it into your heart, whatever it may be. Am I lovable? And by the time you exhale, you'll get the answer from your heart.
Wow, that's powerful.
Ask it anything. It doesn't care. It already knows you like you don't even know you. That's the problem. You don't know you, but the heart knows you.
Oh.
So any question you have that's causing you fear or anxiety, get yourself centered, breathe the question through your nose into your heart. And by the time you exhale, you will have an answer from your heart.
What if it's like a to be continued, like you'll figure it out? Or is it always a yes or no?
Well, that's a great awareness, because there's only 3 answers to every question. I agree, I disagree, or I don't know yet.
Okay. I got an I don't know.
That's beautiful because you're not ready yet. That's a big question. Not everybody on earth is asking that. So you have to work on your number one thing, which is patience.
Oh, heart, you're serving me well.
Well, when you get older, all you have left is patience. Like, what are you going to do?
That's right. Yeah, wow. That's really powerful.
Thank you. You too.
Dang.
So I noticed that you're getting ready to do something different in your life. You're getting ready to grow something new or try something new professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're kind of concerned about that?
I guess there's a little bit of doubts, but
Doubt's fear.
yeah.
Doubt is the JV of fear. Fear is the varsity. Doubt's the JV.
That's a good way to put it. But I'm looking to surround myself with people who are doing what I aspire to do. So even talking with you is a high alignment for me.
Me too.
So
There's a lot going on right here for you.
my throat chakra.
All in here.
Specifically in my throat. Yeah.
Your inner voice.
Yeah.
There's something there for you.
Yeah.
We
And
won't talk about that online, but you know what I mean. You
you're
know exactly what I mean. You're choked off here. You got to let it go and forgive yourself. You did the best you can with the skills you had at that time. We're all doing the best we can. It's part of life. Let it go. Exactly. Just freaking rip that girl right out of there. Say, man, you can stay if you can shut up. But if you're going to be all this, I got to go. You got to go.
I like that you give her a gender. Gotta go.
Oh. Well, we want to give choices.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be that male energy, where it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
That usually doesn't work for long. It's usually only work a couple weeks. You want to make it your idea or the entity's idea.
Right. I love that. Well, can we talk again? Because this is great. I could talk all day.
Happy to chat with you and your beautiful audience anytime. So just, give me a week or so heads up and I'm ready to roll, Joe.
Awesome. All right. Do you feel inspired to say anything else to the world?
You already know all you need to know. If you're aware of something, don't put it off till tomorrow. Just put 30 seconds into it today. Just piss off your ego. Tell them there's going to be some changes around here and you better buck up. And, everybody, we talked earlier, at the end of the day, we're all beautiful, beautiful, super powerful creatures. And you didn't come here to play small ball. And you take incremental chances when you feel intuitively that it's safe. You're overqualified to live an enlightened, beautiful, joyful, compassionate life. And that this will constantly remind you of it, even though we'll all listen to this because it's the great drama, soap opera, but this is where the action is. The pelvic floor is where the action is. Be responsible with sexual activity and use that energy in the most positive way possible. And you'll draw business and relationships and power just from working with that pelvic energy, because other people out there want to do it in a healthy way too.
Right.
So it's not taboo. It's not taboo.
So did you say go head to the gut, then to the heart?
Yeah. So let's just do this very simply. 3 words, breathe. So when I say breathe to myself, my body knows what that means. Feel. I don't need you to think. I need you to breathe and feel.
Mhm.
Breathe, feel, relax, repeat. Just say those 3 words, breathe, feel, relax. I'm not saying hyperventilation. I'm not saying think. And I'm not saying stress, tension. I'm saying breathe, feel, relax. Repeat those 3 to you silently, slowly while you breathe, and you'll instantaneously be brought into the soul of your mind.
Damn. That feels so good. This is so good. God bless. Oh,
Thank
so
you so much.
yeah, of course. I would like to give you a shout out, like all your platforms. Where can people find you and your stuff?
So I have a website, www.edharrold.com with 2 R's, Harrold. Got a couple books that I've authored that you can get on my site. I've got Body, Mind, Business and Life with Breath. And these are just foundational books for transformation and living in the modern world that we live in. I offer trainings, both for CE trainings for medical professionals and CE trainings for fitness professionals. On my website, I have a breath course that I teach online. I got a bunch of free stuff on my YouTube channel where folks can get this. So basically, I'm just a teacher and an educator and a transformational coach. And I can be your best friend in those times where we just need someone to listen.
Oh, I love that. Is your YouTube Ed Harrold?
Yeah. The breathing guy.
The breathing guy. I love it. Such an honor.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Have a blessed day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for everything.
God bless. I love you and have a beautiful afternoon.
Love you too. Peace. And
Peace.
peace.
Thank you, love.